Welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. Neeru Tandon from Department of English, VSSD College, Kanpur. In this paper of linguistics, we are discussing Module 25 titled Empty Category, written by Ms. Muskan Shrivastava, research scholar, University of Hyderabad. Empty category is a term used in government and binding theory to depict noun phrases that are not phonetically realized but are important to understand the mapping of D structure to S structure for complex sentences. Some questions to ponder. Why should we talk about empty categories? What are the defining properties of empty categories? What are the various types of empty categories? And what is empty category principle? Let us find answers of these questions in this present module. Why empty category? Worf in 1956 came up with an important concept which distinguished between the overt and covert nature of grammatical categories. Any feature of a word or phrase is said to be overt if it explicitly exists at the surface. For example, if it morphologically marked and has a phonetic form. If a feature is only implicitly present and has no phonetic form, then is said to be covert in nature. The context of the discourse predicts the presence and meaning of a covert feature. Let's see these examples of English that has covert gender. My professor asked me to write a letter. Here, the gender of the professor cannot be guessed unless a personal pronoun is used in the sentence. So, if we have another sentence, my professor asked me to write a letter for her. Here, the gender of the professor as a female becomes clear as indicated by the use of the word her. In other languages like Spanish, gender is an overtly marked at the end of a noun. Syntax of noun phrase is highly complex. Apart from a certain feature, the overt and covert distinction lies to the whole noun phrase itself. Noun phrases that can be pronounced are overt noun phrases. Covert noun phrases are noun phrases that cannot be pronounced. They do not have morphological and phonological content. Covert noun phrases are called empty categories, a term given by Chomsky in 1981 in Lectures on Government and Binding. Duranty said Worf's overt and covert distinction provides foundations for Chomsky's distinction of deep structure and surface structure. Deep structure or D structure as it is known, underlying form that accounts for the semantic component in meaning. It was generated by lexical insertions into the delta nodes. Delta nodes are phonologically and semantically null lexical placeholders. Surface structure or S structure accounts for the phonological component in sound. Deep structure turns into surface structure via transformation rules. Projection principle is the syntactic structures determined by lexical information determine the choice of complement of a verb. Thematic roles of agent, patient, goal, theme and others are there to be discussed. Subcategorization requirements are interpreted and met at the D structure. A movement rule that leaves traces while mapping D structure to S structure. Traces are empty categories, others include big P-R-O and small pro. Overt NPs. Overt noun phrases are anaphor, pronominal and referential expressions. They provide base for binding theory. Interpretation of pronouns may or may not depend upon reference from within the sentence, but it does not select a referent from the universe of discourse. Are expressions like John, Peter, etc. interpreted based on reference from the universe of discourse. Our expressions are termed as referents. Binding theory is a module of GB that regulates the referential features of overt NPs with three principles. Principle A, an anaphor should be bound in its governing category. Principle B, a pronominal should be free in its governing category. And principle C, an R expression must be free everywhere. So co-indexation, when we talk about it, then we know that it gives the same index to two NPs that share a common referent. Antecedent an NP that provides its interpretation to the other NP with which it is co-indexed. For example, Sita loves herself. Here we see that Sita is co-indexed with herself. Herself is a reflexive anaphor and Sita is its antecedent. Sita loves her. Co-indexation suggests that the indicated reading of Sita loving herself is impossible. Sita told Radha that she loves her is co-indexation suggests that the indicated reading is possible. Generally, empty categories are defined as noun phrases that are not overtly present in a sentence. Complex sentences permit movement rule. Move theta to map the underlying representation to its surface representation. Consequences may be occurrence of empty categories, namely trace. On the basis of the way they are generated, empty categories are of two types: base generated empty categories and movement generated empty categories. Base generated empty categories are big PRO and small pro. NP traces and WH traces are movement generated empty categories. Relation between covert and overt noun phrases. Covert noun phrases share certain features to specific overt noun phrase. Pronominals are overt counterpart of pro and behaves in the same way as pronominal. Anaphors are overt counterparts of noun phrase traces, and noun phrase trace and anaphor share common behavioral features. Referential expressions are overt counterparts of WH traces and both share similar features. Overt and covert NPs can be classified on the basis of their behavioral features. As you can see in this particular chart, except PRO, every other non-overt NP or empty category has an overt counterpart. There are certain properties of empty categories. Empty category, a covert term for PRO, pro-NP trace and WH trace. It differs from overt NPs in terms of not being lexical categories and cannot be phonetically pronounced in a sentence. They are either base generated or movement generated. Empty category has different behavioral features, and except PRO, every other empty category has its overt noun phrase counterpart. An anaphor is an overt counterpart of NP trace, pronominal of pro and referential expression of WH trace. Now, certain concepts are there which are relevant to empty category. Certain concepts relevant for better understanding of empty categories are extended projection principle, theta theory, theta criteria, non-finite clauses, control theory, binding theory, etc. They work together to motivate the existence of empty categories. Let's discuss these one by one. Theta theory, a module of GB theory that deals with assignment of theta roles to arguments in a sentence. They are semantic roles that represent syntactic argument structure required by a specific verb. Agent is assigned to an argument of a verb if it deliberately performs the action described by the verb. Patient is the argument acted upon by the agent, and recipient is assigned to an argument that receives something. Goal is assigned to argument that describes the main point of action described by the verb. Experiencer assigned to argument of verb that does not reflect a deliberate action. Theme is the argument acted upon by the experiencer. External and internal theta roles are assigned via sisterhood condition and theta criteria. Theta criteria is the theta roles should be assigned to only one argument, and arguments can bear only one theta role. There is sisterhood condition also. Theta roles are assigned to the sisters of the assigning elements. Complement of a verb helps in internal theta role assignment, and external theta role is assigned by V bar as a result of verb phrase internal subject hypothesis. For example, John punched Peter. John over here is agent and Peter is patient. My grandmother saw a flower. Experiencer over here is grandmother. Experience is there to see a flower, and flower becomes the theme. So VP internal subject hypothesis shows that subject actually originates at the spec of VP and then moves to the spec of IP, making subject a sister of V bar. Extended projection principle. What is it? Extended projection principle, every clause must have a subject. We know that. Certain verbs require semantic and meaningful subjects while others don't. Mohan played football. Here a verb like play requires a meaningful subject, that is Mohan. However, in a sentence like there comes the president, here comes is an intransitive verb that takes only one argument and can assign only one theta role to the precedent. There doesn't get any theta role and is present to serve the purpose of EPP. Non-finite clauses. An embedded or dependent clause whose verb does not show tense and the referred time is generally concluded from the context of main clause. Finite clause can stand alone and has verb which shows tense. A finite verb form has an expressed or implicit subject. In English, non-finite verbs consist of infinitives, participles and gerunds. Do not form root of an independent clause and depends upon the subject of main clause as its subject. For example, Jane tried to cook rice. Now if we look at another sentence, to love is to expect nothing. Here we see that infinitive clause is used both as the subject and object of the sentence, as subject in the sentence 1 and as object in the sentence 2. There are various types of empty categories. The first is big PRO. Concept given with reference to control theory, that is the modules of GB theory. PRO is an empty category not phonetically realized, forms the null pronoun subject of non-finite clauses. Control theory establishes a link between PRO and its antecedent. PRO is the short form for pronoun, both anaphoric and pronominal, as it is bound in its governing category just like an anaphor, and it is also free in its governing category just like a pronominal. Constituent with a governor can never satisfy but both these conditions at a time. Constituent that do not have a governor is required to solve this problem. Case theory deals with formal features of NPs and case filter. Case filter does not allow any overt NP to be unmarked for case. Overt NPs can never occur without a governor. Case is assigned under government. Only pro can occur at an ungoverned subject position of a non-finite clause. Therefore, PRO is a pronominal anaphor. For example, Sita wanted to solve the question. Here, to solve the question, a non-finite clause without an overt subject that violates EPP. Solve is a transitive verb assigns two theta roles. The only NP, the question, can be assigned only one theta role. The second theta role is left unassigned, violating the theta criteria. To fulfill the theta criteria and EPP requirements, pro is used. Assuming that placing an abstract pronoun like element pro at the subject position of non-finite clauses fulfills both these requirements. There are certain types of big pro. The reference of PRO is determined by its controller. On the basis of its reference, PRO is of two types, control PRO and arbitrary PRO. Control PRO has a controlled reference. It is of two types, subject control PRO and object control PRO. Subject control, the reference of PRO is controlled by the subject of the main clause. For example, Sita promised Radha. Promised to what? Promised to dance, promised to sing, anything. Here PRO refers to Sita, that is the subject of the main clause. Hence it is the subject of the main clause that is the controller of PRO. Then object control. The object of the matrix clause is the controller of PRO. For example, Sita persuaded Radha. Maybe to dance, maybe to sing, maybe to cook. But because PRO refers to Radha, that is the object of the main clause and not to Sita, so this is the object control. Arbitrary PRO has no controller and its reference is of generic nature or arbitrary. Let's see the sentence. PRO, to abuse would be rude. Here PRO has a generic or arbitrary reference which is similar to one in for one to abuse would be rude. There is no object, no subject, just like the previous sentences. What are the properties of big PRO? It is a null subject pronoun and a pronominal anaphor. It can only occur at the subject position of non-finite clause. It can never occur at the subject or object position of finite clause. Pro theorem, pro occurs only at the ungoverned positions. In English, it is also a case-less position. However, in other languages like Icelandic, it is not a case-less position. Less flexible and reference can either be arbitrary or fixed to its controller in the main clause. Now we also have a small pro. Small pro in empty category occupies the subject position of finite clauses in pro-drop languages. The non-overt subject of finite clauses in pro-drop languages behaves like zero or null anaphora, non-anaphoric but pronominal in nature. A null anaphora signifies the presence of referential properties at the empty subject position. It cannot be a dummy subject. Occurs at governed positions. Predicate of a finite clause assigns external theta role to pro. It must be present at the D structure because theta roles are assigned at the D structure. Pro-drop parameter decides if a language can drop a pronoun at the subject position of a finite clause or not. Pro-drop languages which allow pronoun dropping at the subject position of finite clauses and insertion of pro, often linked with the richness of inflection system of a particular language. Chinese, Korean, Spanish are some of the pro-drop languages, while English is not a pro-drop language. It does not have a rich inflection system. Now, pro-drop languages allow omission of overt subject pronoun but don't allow the insertion of pro at the subject position of finite clauses. In English, pronouns are often dropped at the subject position of imperative sentences. For example, go there, come here. Informal speech allows us to drop pronouns at the subject position of certain other types of sentences too. Ever thought of laughing and crying together? What you wanted? Have you ever thought of laughing and crying together? But this have you comes into the empty category. Want to play? It means do you want to play? This do you remains empty. Now what is NP trace? Traces are result of movements. Concept first proposed by Warsaw in 1972, further extended by Chomsky in GB theory. Move elements from one syntactic position to other in a sentence. An invisible mark left behind at that syntactic position in the structure. NP trace is the result of a movement, that is the movement of a determiner phrase, DP, from its underlying position to an argument position. Where the DP moves to another argument position, it leaves behind NP trace. DP movement checks the case features. NP trace occurs only at the position of spec of VP and comp of intransitive verbs where case features cannot be checked. Raising verb constructions like that of seem and passive verb result into DP movement. They fail to assign a structural case to the complement NP and also lack an external argument. Berzio's generalization is if a verb lacks an external theta role, then it fails to assign accusative case, and if a verb fails to assign accusative case, then it fails to theta mark an external argument as well. For example, the D structure of a sentence, Ram seems to be happy, will be seems Ram to be happy. The surface form of this sentence will be Ram seems to be happy. Here, subject of the infinite embedded clause moves out its position to become the subject of the main clause, leaving behind an NP trace as its original position. NP traces behaves like an overt anaphor and is therefore anaphoric and not pronominal in nature. Now, what is WH trace? We all know about WH words. We have just gone through WH movement in various other modules. Now we are talking about WH trace. WH trace is an empty category, a result of WH movement. In English, questions can start with WH words like what, who, whom, where, why, when, which and how. It occurs when a WH word, which is a maximal projection, moves from its underlying position to the spec of CP. The spec of CP is an A or non-argument position. WH movement occurs in order to check the presence of WH features in C. For example, the syntactic structure of a WH sentence can be explained by a tree diagram. You can see in this diagram the representation of WH movement is there for a sentence who laughs. Empty category principle was proposed by Chomsky in his GV framework, and certain empty categories, especially traces, must be properly governed. It allows trace to be visible at the surface structure as empty position that is either governed by a lexical category or is co-indexed with the maximal projection that governs it. It results into deletion of intermediate traces, and proper government is possible in case of intermediate traces. What is proper government? A properly governs B if a theta governs B, or A antecedent governs B, where a theta governs B if A governs B and A theta marks B. A antecedent governs B if A governs B and A and B are co-indexed. ECP applies to two empty categories, NP trace and WH trace, as only these two empty categories are movement generated. The main function of ECP is to put constraints on movements of different categories by move A. Where do you think the thieves will go? That is within the bracket. Here, presence of overt complementizer that forms the closest possible governor, but it is not co-indexed with the trace, so antecedent government is not possible. Trace being in spec of IP cannot be theta marked violating theta government, and ECP gets violated in the sentence if the trace is in spec of IP and the complementizer that is overtly present. So before just summarizing, I will like to mention certain points to remember related with empty categories. Empty categories are overt and covert NPs are there. Overt NPs morphologically marked with phonologically pronounced. Non-overt NPs not physically present and pronounced, called empty categories. We have also discussed anaphors, pronominals and referential expressions as types of overt NPs. We discussed various other factors like pro-NP trace, WH trace related with WH movements, and so this particular empty category explains certain questions that come in the mind of the readers. Keep reading, keep enjoying. Thank you for visiting EPG Pathshala.